Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to Surviving Life's Pickles. We are so excited for you guys to join us this week for this episode. It is a beautiful week so far.
So far, it is.
I have absolutely nothing to complain about. And I just want to make sure and I say thank you to everybody who is tuning in today. We are so thankful, so grateful that you guys take the time out of your busy lives every week to hang out with us and to listen to the conversations that we have and the amazing information that we are able to bring everybody each week. So, before we dive into this, let me introduce our guest today, James Brown.
Hey, what's up? What's up? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming today. We're excited for this conversation with you today.
Hey, well, I'm so appreciative of being here. Life is a wonderful thing, especially when you get to share it with wonderful people who out of nowhere call you and say, "Hey, come be my pickle." And I'm going, "I'm a pickle, you a pickle, we're all a pickles," you know? It's
Yeah,
a good thing.
I love it.
Yeah, we're so honored to
Yeah.
have you here.
Thank you.
Well, as we start every episode, before we dive into the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about, we start off our episodes with gratitude because we love setting the tone for what's about to come by talking about what's grateful for us. And it's just a great way to start off any big event that we do in our lives. We try to do this every day. We wake up, we try to do it every event.
It's a daily thing. Just anytime you can start your day with gratitude, it helps set the tone for the entire day.
Yep.
So,
Well, Hill, why don't you go ahead and start us off today?
okay, I'll go first. Today we kind of talked this morning a little bit about kind of giving us our ideas of what we are grateful for today. And I summed it up, but I'll elaborate a little bit. I'm grateful for good food, friends, and good music. And we had the opportunity last night to go and see one of our favorite artists. Her name is Tosh Sultana. And this this person is just special to us. When we first started our relationship, I introduced him to their music, and it's just kind of driven through our relationship and the ballad of our relationship, I feel like, and we just connect with their music so much. And we also had the opportunity to go with an old friend of mine, Joel Pack, who was on our episode a couple weeks ago. And it was so wonderful to catch up with him. We've been friends since I was 17 years old. We've been through a lot of life's pickles together. And it was so wonderful to catch up with him and his wife and just have an amazing date night, which we don't get to do with friends very often. So,
Yeah. No, it was really great. And the weather finally turned out beautiful last night. It was questionable till early afternoon.
mhm.
So, well, James, I'll let you go next. What are you grateful for today?
Man, there's so much I'm so grateful for. First, the good Lord for blessing me to have a continued life and live a life. My children, my ex-wife, my family, it is so much. And when you start thinking about what you're grateful for, it's so hard to express and identify all the things. But I'm just happy to be in Utah. And the girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend that brought me to Utah, she helped change my life for the better. So I am so grateful for all the things that have happened in my life and to bring me here. And I'm grateful for you two to invite me into this room to sit down and talk with you and experience new people in Orem. I had an old friend that lived in Doug Jensen used to live here in Orem, and he was the first videographer that I had working with me. A good Mormon guy, and I didn't know he was a Mormon, but I didn't really care, you know what I mean? But people ask me all the time, "You live in Utah with the Mormons?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, how do they treat you?" I say, "They beat me up once a week, and then I'm good for the rest of the week." And I'm going, "Have you lost your mind? Why would I live someplace that I wasn't happy with, you know?"
Right.
And it's a good thing. So I'm just so grateful that the good Lord has given me the spirit, the wisdom, the knowledge to go out and talk about being a senior because I've witnessed how we neglect to look at our seniors and respect the fact that they built the foundation that we walk and we stand on. So, I'm grateful to be here, man, just to drive all those miles
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to get down here. But it's just a blessing to be alive and to be amongst great people like yourself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I guess I'll round it out.
Okay.
To me, um, I am just extremely grateful, and we've talked about this a lot. The power of music. I'm so grateful for the power of music. I mean, last night, like Hillary said, we were able to go to a concert. I mean, we've seen them 6 times. I think last night was the 6th time we've seen them live. But they played our wedding song.
Ooh.
And we were able to, one, they get on stage and play our wedding song live. To be able to see and hear our wedding song live is an experience in itself. To be able to dance with my beautiful wife and close my eyes, and it takes me right back to that moment. But then I'm surrounded by 10,000 people,
Woo!
and they're experiencing this music with us, but in their own way. And it's just powerful how you can transport yourself to a memory, to a spot in time, or just connect somebody else that's around you because they're connecting to this beautiful music the same way you are.
Right.
So the power of music is just healing, the connection it brings people together. And I'm just so grateful that we have the opportunity to enjoy it and have so many avenues here in Utah to go see different places.
I love that. Let me throw something at you. I spent 4.5 years as concert coordinator and personal manager to Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh,
Okay.
So I understand music, and I think a lot of what I gained from Sly, being around him, watching him in the studio, creating all of these things, inspired me. I figured I could do anything I wanted to do because working with him was like a novel experience, you know. But it music plays such an infinite role in all of our lives, and we don't know it until we know it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing, and just for you 2 to be together, doing this together, I can see the rhythm of all of that, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
pretty cool.
well, thank you.
Music has been such an important part of our lives and our relationship, and it's something that we immediately connected together with. And so we've always, I mean, we've got music lyrics all over our house, and Scott's favorite thing is to bring music lyrics into the podcasts
Right.
and share the meanings of the music to him. So it is just such a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
So
Very cool. Very cool.
Well, let's dive into a little bit about who James Brown is. I mean, everybody hears that name, and the first thing they think is what?
I feel good.
Absolutely. But you are definitely just as powerful man as he was.
Ooh.
Just being here, I can feel that
Influential.
with you. You're influential in your industry. So let's find out a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to dive into kind of what your new mission in life is and what you're doing with it.
Well, I grew up in San Francisco, California, in an area called the Bay View, Hunters Point, and it was called Hunters Point because it was close to the naval shipyard that refurbished all the ships during the war. And it was a tough little community. I mean, I had to box on my way to school, and the dog had to fight other dogs. It was pretty crazy, but my mother was an exceptional human being, you know, not to leave my dad out, but my mother was so incredible. I would come home and she'd be cooking, and she cooked volumes of food. And I said, "Mom, why do you cook so much food?" And she said, "You never know who's gonna stop by and want something to eat." And the house was like the United Nations. I'd come home, there would be all kinds of different cultural individuals in the house. "Oh, Miss Eva, what you cooking tonight?" "Oh, I got something in the pot for you." And it made me connect with all kinds of people, man, and that's what my neighborhood was about, and that has followed me throughout my life, you know. When I first got to Utah, I thought I was coming to Salt Lake City, but
Hmm.
we kept driving, and I saw the sign said, "Welcome to Salt Lake," so I thought I was here, and then we started driving over Paulie Summit, and I says, "Where's your house, girl?" And she says, "Up the road a bit." I said, "Up the road?" Okay, we kept driving, and pretty soon there was nothing. We're past Park City, and we're and there was nothing. I'm going, "Where do you live?" "Just up the road a bit." And we pulled off in Evanston, Wyoming.
Oh,
So when I thought I was coming to Salt Lake City, I ended up coming to Evanston, Wyoming, population 13,000 when I got there.
yeah.
And I go, What's in Evanston? It's where I live. She worked for NBC, so they had transferred her to southwestern Wyoming and Utah to cover the news.
Huh.
And I lived there for 4.5 years. I actually wrote the state song for Wyoming because I heard their state song and I called the guy up and I said, "This song sucks." And he said, "Well, write a new one." So I started writing the lyrics. I went up to Jackson Hole and there was all these brochures, Tetons, the Stagecoach Kid, Rome, and I was standing under the antlers when you and all, and I said, "That's the lyrics." And I called my friend Elmore Peeler, who was the arranger composer for Paul Williams, and I said, "Elmore, we're gonna write a song for the state of Wyoming." He said, "Only you would call me from Wyoming, tell me we're going to write a song." He said, "Okay, when?" I said, "Well, they've already given me money." He said, "They gave you money without hearing anything?" I said, "Yeah,
Wow.
it's cool." They gave me $10,000 to write this song.
Wow.
Never heard a lyric, never heard a word. I flew to LA. Elmore got the symphony orchestra, LA Symphony Orchestra, and we did this song, "Come See Wyoming," stage,
Huh.
sleep Rome, and all that kind of stuff. And I went, "Wow, I'm doing this." And this guy, Paul Anastasia, said, "Man, I talk about you every time I go to Utah." And he says, "They got this crazy black guy living in Wyoming doing all sorts of stuff." And he said, "If you ever come to Salt Lake City, we will make you a partner in our advertising agency." So my girlfriend decided she wanted to go back to Los Angeles to finish her acting career. And I said, I'm staying."
Hmm.
And I moved in to Salt Lake City, joined the First Marketing Group. My clients were Mrs. Fields Cookies, Nabisco, Revlon, Nintendo, all of it. And people said, "How'd you get to?" Well, I had a cousin that was in a big business in California. I said, "I could do your work here for 35% less." And she said, "Boy, you can't do this work. This is professional stuff." I said, "Send it to me." They had a artist colony in the Walker Building, downtown Salt Lake City, and they were all graphic designers. So I went up, I said, "Hey, could you guys do this kind of stuff?" They said, "Yeah." So I sent it to my cousin, and she said, "This is great work." Okay. And I got all these clients.
Wow.
And the advertising marketer says, "How'd you get those clients?" "Don't worry about that. I got them." You know, but I ended up, loving this community, really finding myself.
Mhm.
Because I was a knucklehead back in the day. We don't even want to go there. I'm not gonna tell you those stories. And I found that I had a place here and that I could do something. And I initiated a show called New Horizons because there was a problem with the minority community not having any programs on television.
Yeah.
Well, back in the 70s,
Right.
Yeah.
and I went to this meeting and everybody's sitting around the table. I sit next to the leaders of TCI Cablevision, which was the largest cable company in the world. It's now Comcast. And I sit next to this beautiful lady and I looked over her shoulder and she had this pad, channel for the minority group in Utah.
Mhm.
I said, "They don't know that they're already prepared to give them their own channel." So she said, "What kind of programming would you guys like to have in Utah?" And this lady vigorously raised her hand. She said, "I'd like Soul Train." I said, "Oh, we got a problem." So I raised my hand. I said, I like Don Cornelius, and I had a chance to be on Soul Train with Sly, and he's just a wonderful guy. But I don't think we need Soul Train here because every black person can't dance.
Yeah.
So get that out of your mind and let's talk about something that's going to generate interest for the whole community. And I
Something.
created a show called New Horizons, and it stayed on the air for 13 years. I was on 13 radio stations, uh, PBS, Channel 14, and made a name for what I was doing. And I've been here ever since. And I've come to terms with who I am and that I am really a soldier for the community and that I wanted to make sure that I talked about everybody's issues and not just one group's issues. Because I tell people, I said, if you put a cover over people, you don't know what their culture is, you don't know what their complexion is, so why do you care? So why don't we try to deal with making it better for everyone
Yeah.
and not just the black group or the white group or the Hispanic group? And people look at me like, well, that's interesting. I say, yes, it is. One other story, and I'll let you get back to your questions. I got a call one day, and it was one of the members of the Quorum of 12.
Oh.
They said they wanted to talk to me. I said, cool. So I drive to the church. I pull down into the garage, and all these guys with black suits come out and black ties and white shirts, and I went, ooh. And so I jumped out of my car and said, you guys look like the FBI or the CIA. And they said, funny, you'd say that, but that's who trained us. I said, you're kidding me. I said, the FBI trains to guard the church? He said, yeah.
Huh.
So I went up the elevator, way up to the top. I get out, and there's a suite of desks, and there's not a paper on any of the secretaries' desks or whatever they were. And I said, brother, you got a problem. He said, what's that, Brother Brown? I said, they aren't doing any work. And he looked at me, he said, oh, we keep it pretty tidy up here. I said, that's way too tidy for
Yeah.
me, you know?
Yeah.
So he kept calling me brother. I said, you know, this is the only place I could be two kinds of brothers, you know? He went, We go into his office, I sit down. Well, Brother Brown, tell me what brought you to Utah. I said, well, I didn't want to tell him this beautiful lady. So I said, I ran out of gas. He went, He said, well, Brother Brown, what keeps you in Utah? I said, well, I was looking in the obituaries this past Sunday, and I didn't see any black people in the obituaries, and I thought that was strange. So I said, I looked again, still no black people. So I figured black people don't die in Utah. I'm staying. He went, I went, oh, this is a hard nut to crack
Yeah.
here, you know. A couple of weeks later, I get a big check, $2,500. Back then, it was a big check, you know. And I called him. I said, what's this check for? He says, we like what you're doing in the community, so we wanted to fund you. I said, well, send me more. He said, we know you're a character. I said, no, I'm serious. Send me more money, you know.
Yeah.
And it was such a wonderful feeling that an organization like the LDS Church had reached out to me and thought that I was contributing to the community enough that they wanted to support me. And that's been my life story. I don't know why I do any of this. I just do it, you know. But as I got older, I started seeing the difference. When I got divorced, I lost my television production studio. The federal government bought the building out from under me. So there I was. I went and tore down the Green Street. I was so angry to him. What? You know, and I said, wow, this is an interesting situation. So I moved into a house after I got divorced, and the landlord came by one day and says, oh, James, I hate to tell you this, but we've got to raise your rent. I said, raise it. How much you going to raise it? So he raised my rent from $1,000 to $2,500.
Oh, wow.
And I went, I'm on a fixed income. I can't do that.
That's a push you out move.
Oh, that's exactly what it was.
Uh-huh.
So my ex-wife started helping me. She's calling around to find a place. And she said, this one place said they have an opening. Let's go visit them. I walk into a place called Utah Empower Profit Housing. And this guy is coming down the stairs. And he says, James. I said, Marion. I already knew the guy. He says, what are you doing here? I said, what do people do when they come in there looking for a house? He said, we got you. We just built a new condominium for 50 plus. Why don't you go take a look at it and pick your place, and you got it. So I moved into this high-rise condominium. Had never lived in a condo before. And I'm walking around. I see these seniors, and they're all sort of angry and upset. I'm going, because I'm laughing. I'm walking, hey, what's up, what's up? And they're going, who are you, you know? So I said, there's something wrong with this. Why are they upset at this point in their lives when they live fruitful lives and they're still living? So I decided to put a podcast together. Then I thought, you ought to do a TV show. So I go to my friends at ABC. I said, hey, I want to do a TV show called Living and Aging with Pride. Oh, you want to help the gay community? I said, it has nothing to do with the gay community, but it's not excluding seniors who are gay.
Yeah.
You know, and they went, interesting. Called another friend because I had in the past produced a couple of shows, a motorcycle show called 1000cc Raw Thrill, a golf show called The Clubhouse. And they were relatively successful and they were all over the country. So I said, hey, I'm doing a new TV show called Living and Aging with Pride. He says, okay, we'll distribute it for you. And that began this whole process.
Yeah.
And what a fight. What a battle. First of all, to get money to produce the shows, then try to get all the stations to pick it up without me paying for the time. And I did that all over the country except in Utah. Utah, you got to pay for the time here, James. I said, well, okay, bye-bye. And started doing it. And I'm here today, and it's really about my life, and it's about people's lives and what we do and how we survive and how we get along. And I didn't find it a difficult task.
Yeah.
It's what I do. If I get in an elevator, I say to people, hello, because they all stand in the elevator like this looking down.
Right.
And I go, hey, the elevator's about to go sideways. Hold on. and they look at me, they go, hi. We don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
We stop talking to our grandmothers and our grandfathers. We take for granted that we say it's tough for us, but we take for granted that they've gone through all of that and they're still here.
Yeah.
And it's so important that we communicate. And that's why I'm really grateful to be here. Coming to Orem, I had to prepare. I'm going to Orem. They said, where's Orem? I said, it's down that way.
Down south.
It's a great thing, but we have to all come together. And so I make the journey to try to make sure that I'm telling people my truths, my authenticity, if you will, and I had a hard time pronouncing that. but it's all about people, man. And this is how we get together. This is how we get along. You don't have to know nothing. Just be something.
Yeah.
That's why we do what we do, is because the connection has been lost.
Right.
And we love just even being able to sit person to person and have these conversations. Some people, every once in a while, we have to do a virtual because they're out of state or we
Right.
just can't make it work. But our favorite is just being able to sit in the room, and feel the connection and the energy that comes from making the connection and having a meaningful conversation.
Well, it speaks volumes to who you guys are.
Thank you.
Because the innocence of holding a podcast, talking to people you don't know, is so powerful. It says you're not afraid of people, says you are a good people, and you don't mind intermingling your life with theirs. And that's what we have to do. And we don't do that.
Yeah.
So I applaud you guys
Thank you
for doing that.
Well, this whole show that you've put together, I mean, it really is, you're just talking about the connection that's lost between the age groups.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a huge disconnect. We even talk about it. I mean, because we have 12 and 13-year-old boys, we talk about the disconnect from them, just the way they interact with not only their peers,
Right.
but the next generation and then their grandparents. It's different for every level.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't see it. And so what you're doing is great, of bringing more information out, educating people, letting them know that, guess what? You guys are still here. Once you've worked your life, you want to live your life.
Absolutely.
And these golden years, as they call it, really are the golden years if you make the best of it. But you can't do it on your own. You got to have connection. You got to have people around you. You want to enjoy it.
Absolutely. I mean, life is an effort, but if you don't make the effort, you don't have a good life.
Yeah.
Yep.
And people don't understand that. And money has become such a figure that we need to use it, but we need to understand its purpose.
Yeah.
It's just a tool. It's all it is.
Exactly.
It's just a tool.
I the phone.
Yeah.
They talk about AI and EI and BI and all of that stuff. And I said, when I was growing up, we had a roadmap, we had the encyclopedia, we
Hmm.
had the dictionary, we had the
Mhm.
Bible.
Yep.
You read something to learn something.
Yep.
Mhm.
You pick up your phone. How do I get to 205 East and 600 North? You know, and it goes turn left at the light, go straight. The map said there's a mailbox on the corner. There's a Fruit of the Looms or the whatever.
Yeah.
It described what you were experiencing in
Yeah.
your travel.
Yeah.
And that's better. That's it. We got the newspaper. We used to go shopping at Woolworth and
Mm.
all those.
You used to actually go to stores to shop.
Yeah.
It was fun because you walk in and the sign said women lingerie basement, shoes, second floor. It told you what was in the show. You get on train or the tracks and it says next stop downtown Salt Lake City. Well, what's downtown?
Hmm.
They don't tell you what you're about to experience. They
Yeah.
tell you just where
Where you're going.
exactly.
Yeah.
We have to learn to start talking. I tell people our bodies, our life is like a car. You put gas in it, you put oil in it, you put water in it, and it runs. Stop doing one of those things, and guess what? You got a problem. Well, that's your body too. We nourish the mind, we'll nourish the body. You nourish the body, you'll nourish the mind. And people don't get that. And we have to start teaching or reteaching people the somatics of life.
Yeah.
And the first thing is to be neighborly like you guys are.
Well, that brings me to the first time I met you.
Good.
So we met at a Promise to Live mental health lunch that Brandy does once a month. They do a lunch and learn. They bring professionals in. You get to learn about different mental health issues
Right,
and meet and network with other people that are wanting to learn the same type of things.
right.
And you spoke at one of the events that the one I met you at. But when you met me, you walked up to me and you're like, "Life's not so bad. Just smile." You just told me, just smile, big guy.
Yeah.
And I just won't ever forget that. And ever since then, I have been trying to embrace that and tell people, you know what, just keep your head up, just smile. It just
makes a
start the day.
difference.
It does.
Yes.
So I do and will always remember that's what's imprinted. The first time I met you is that's what you put on me is you just keep a smile on your face. Life's not so bad.
Thank you.
So, I mean, you're doing it just in your everyday life.
Right.
You're doing it by example and you're just showing people, guess what? It's easier to be happy than it is to be sad.
Absolutely.
So let's make this choice. Let's connect with people and let's share these experiences. So as you've been getting, as you started this show and started this direction,
Right.
what have been a couple big things that have stood out to you that you've got as far as feedback that people have said, thank you for reminding us or thank you for sharing these things? What kind of feedback have you got as that's stuck with you?
I mean, a gamboogle or whatever that means, a lot, man, because people say, thank you. And I go, for what? Just for talking to us and talking for us and letting people know that we haven't disappeared. And when you think about that, everything we do in life is about being around people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't identify it as the company we need to survive or to uh, uh, energize us. And I've been thankful. I had a gentleman, an older gentleman, he was 90 years old. He looked down at my shoes and I had shined them up. My mother taught me when I was a kid, put some polish on them shoes, boys, before you go to school. And I'd polish my shoe and I continue to do that. And he says, you shine your shoes. I don't see that anymore. People recognize when you do things to better yourself.
Yeah.
And if everybody would start just that smile on the face, because we all have troubles, we all face difficulties, but the smile dissipates the problem so that you're not carrying it everywhere. You got to still deal with those issues,
Right.
but the smile allows other people to come, and you might get a better idea from somebody talking to you because your smile. People go, oh, what do you do? Who are you? So I've got so much feedback, and man, it's been so difficult, especially in raising money, that sometimes I go, oh, why am I doing this? I want to quit.
Mhm.
Then I say, well, what are you going to do after this? That's a good
What
one.
else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So I think I've been encouraged. Politicians reach out to me. James, you support the Democratic Party? I said, yes, and I support the Republican Party. Well, how do you do that? I said, it's easy. I support them both.
You support people.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they want me to be a Republican or a Democrat. And I go, hey, I'm about the people. You need to be making decisions not about what they want, but what they need. So that's my feedback. I get calls, I get talked to, I get people like yourself reaching out to me, and that lets me know that I'm on the right track.
That's good.
I need to improve it because I'm an old man and I'm trying to figure out how to navigate through the system. But the best thing that I can do is that people talk to me and say, thank you for talking about us and talking to us. And I think that's the greatest issues that come to my thought pattern here
Okay.
to say.
No, that's great. Well, and that solidifies that you're doing the right thing when you hear that feedback and you get it. So,
I get a lot of it
yeah.
all over the country. I mean, and I'm in 58 million television households across the country. And it blows me away, because you never put any substance to what you're doing. You just do it. And then all of a sudden you're getting feedback from people that you don't have a clue.
Yeah. Well, you're making a difference in their life, small, big. Sometimes you will never know, but you are making a difference. And that's the biggest thing. That's what matters.
Mhm.
So, well, something else that we found out a little bit about you as we were doing a little dive into who James Brown
Yeah.
is you are the president of the Utah's nonprofit organization. Is that correct?
No, I'm not the president.
The director.
I'm on the advisory board
Okay.
for the Utah Nonprofit Association, and I was invited to join it and be a part of, I think it's 3,000 nonprofits that are involved. And it's so interesting to see so many different kinds of nonprofits and that the goal is all the same.
Yeah.
How do we connect with the people? How do we serve the people and their particular causes? And that lets me know that we're all alike. I'm also on the investigative journalist board. And these are all journalists, write stories in newspapers, television, or whatever. And I go, wow, nobody is really focusing on seniors. And I go, hey, we got to talk about the old folks,
Yeah.
But no, it's a good thing, man. And the nonprofits work so hard. And when you think about it, we're all asking for the same dollar.
Yep.
When you look at Utah, Salt Lake City, you got so many people you can talk to, and you got 50,000 people asking those people for money.
Yeah.
So you better have a good game and a good thing. Otherwise, they'll go, keep up the good work,
Yeah.
but we can't give you any money. And you would think doing good things doesn't take money. You got to buy the paper. You got to pay for the phones. You got to do all the create programs, everything. You had to buy the mic, excuse me.
Yep.
You had to buy the microphones. You got to have the video. Everything takes
Cost money.
money.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part of it.
Yeah. I mean, so how long have you been on the advisory board?
I think 5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So during that time, I would imagine you've met some pretty incredible people that are really focused on some incredible things.
Absolutely.
And then, like you said, out of all those people, at the end of the day, they're all focused on the same thing,
Absolutely.
all focused on people. What have you seen that's kind of unfortunate because of these nonprofits? People starting a fight against just over the money part, like we're talking about. Is there a way that the advisory board kind of helps navigate that, where they try to help the nonprofits gain their money or direct them in the right directions? Or what is the advisory board's role when it comes to that?
I think it's all of that. First of all, we show them how to prepare themselves and to organize their organizations so that they can get funding.
Okay.
It's one thing to have the cause, to fight for surviving life's pickles. Okay, what's the pickle? And why is the pickle important? What do you plan on doing? Structure it. Have a strategy about what you're doing. So the nonprofit association points them in the right directions, helps them uniform their packages so they can have the right message, and helps them develop the cause. When you're out there as a nonprofit, like when you start, you figure you're by yourself.
Right.
But we all are fighting for the same cause. And you've got to have a foundation because it's business as usual.
Yeah.
It's a passion. And we go, I got my passion, but that passion needs to be solidified with a foundation that is business.
Right.
And that's what the Utah Nonprofit Association does. It helps you formulate your organization to where it's a business, because you're going to business people asking for funding, or you're asking citizens to submit or give you money, and they want to know that you're a real viable structure.
Mhm.
They want to know it's a real deal. They want to make sure that you're not a fraud, because that happens.
Exactly. A lot of that happens.
Yeah.
A lot.
So I think the association is the backbone for nonprofits, and it shows them where all the tools are to be a better nonprofit, and it also lets them know that you're worthy of being a nonprofit, that your cause has valid existence, and that's important, because when you formed your nonprofit, you looked at each other. You didn't know where you were going to go or what are you going to do.
Mhm.
You know, you had a cause, but how do I get people to know this? How do I get people to respect this?
Right.
And what separates you from United Way or the Blood Donors Association or Autistic Association? And everybody, there's a place. There's so many little pieces to life, and every one of these nonprofits play a role in that piece of life. You just have to structure it so people can recognize it. And I think that that's what the Utah Nonprofit Association does. And they're part of the National Nonprofit Association.
Okay.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Well, there's a lot of good work. Like, I would actually really love to hear a little bit more about the gala you went to last night, because you talked about it as we were walking in, and they've been promoting the Promise to Live Gala for months. Brandy does a wonderful job about spreading suicide awareness in the community, and her mission this year I think is 1 million hugs. Isn't that what
Yes.
the mission is this year?
Exactly.
Give it out 1 million hugs. But let's talk a little bit about the gala. I kind of want to know how that's played out. What type of people did they hit the goal they were looking for? Yeah.
Let me tell you, Thanksgiving Point is a beautiful place.
Mhm.
You went into the barn, the big red barn.
Mhm.
When I walked in the door, it looked like it was Uptown USA. It was so glamorous looking, nice lighting. It was just a big, big room. And the room was filled. And I would assume there had to be over 1,000 people or more
Wow.
in the room. You know, I may have exaggerated by a couple of couple of numbers, but it was packed. And everybody was dressed up. It was nice. The speakers, one of my favorite is Mary Craft, and she's such a brilliant woman. But Brandy got up there and she told everybody what this was about, that we want to make a promise to live, that we want to reach out. We need to communicate with each other. We need to talk to our children. And I don't call this a problem, but I had an issue. I tell Brandy, I said, I hate leading off with sad stories.
Mhm.
We're talking about people that may not feel happy about their lives and may want to end their lives.
Yeah.
So let's start talking about how valuable and how great life is, rather than, oh, I'm going through this and I don't want to live, or I didn't, or my child. Let's lift them up first and then tell them the story about the negativity with suicide. I said, we got to show them the path of happiness and uprightness. But this event was so incredible. They did a phenomenal job. It was just a beautiful thing, man. And I just go, that's what I got to do. That's what I want to do. I'm like, I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And one of her keys is she's got incredible volunteers helping her.
Yeah.
It's surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's been a problem for me because my role as a personality on television is singular minded because it's me going in front of a camera going, "Hi, I'm James, blah, 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 blah." You know, I've got to learn, and I'm learning that I've got to find people who have vested interest in my cause to help me because you only know so much.
Yeah.
And you may know a lot, but trying to implement that is the task. How do I be a good administrative person? You walk into my home, I got paper stacked up here. Somebody says, "Why don't you file it?" I can't find it then.
Yep.
So I got it on the table. I can go, there it is, and people look at that, you're not organized. I'm organized. I know what I'm doing. I do what I'm doing, but there's a way to do that, and you have to learn that. And when you have people around with a certain level of expertise, as Brandy does, as Promise to Live does, you find that helps you focus on what your strength is.
Yeah.
And was a reporter for the news, ABC. I first met her. My task when she came to the station was to take her around and show her the town. And that's how we first met.
So you kind of her mentor originally then.
From the beginning.
Nice.
And she surpassed me in volumes. She produces the what is it, the mission at the church? I forget what's the Sunday.
Yeah, she does the Sunday mission. I can't remember what the name of that is, but yeah, she does. She's producing that. And
just amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But last night, man, it blew my mind. I went, holy cow, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Such an inspiration.
You said something when you're talking about everybody's kind of going through different things. Like we all go through different things. We want to focus on the happiness. Something that stood out to me last night at our concert we went to is she took a moment and she started talking about, she's had a really rough last year and a half,
Right.
had some loss in the family, struggle with some medical issues, just different things. And she started going on and she stopped herself like mid-sentence and she looked at the crowd and she's like, we all go through this.
Absolutely.
I had a bad year, but guess what? All of you did too. You all went through stuff. We're all here. You know what? We're just going to go through it together. And that's kind of what you just described is we just need to go through it together. We need to experience the happiness, the sadness.
You ever sit alone in your room and you worry about things?
All the time.
And as soon as your wife or you come in, it changes.
Yeah.
Because someone is sharing that space with you.
Yeah.
And it makes you either go, okay, you're not going to say anything, or you're not going to go, oh, I'm having a word, because you recognize and respect the person that is spending the time with you. So it moves your mind, and that helps you move the issue, and that helps you deal with the issue.
Yeah.
So we have to accommodate the space we're in with people. I had no clue what I was going to say when I got here. I don't know. Oh, God. I brought every document I have in my life just in case I need a reference.
Reference something.
And I don't.
Yeah.
Because you've enabled me to talk about it. Now, is this good for me? You bet it is. Because I will leave here happy, feeling good, and feeling better. And I know that I got friends.
I love that.
I got friends in Orem. Whoa.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah.
And somebody might ask me, you went to Orem? Because I think one of the things that happened here in Utah is people don't experience going to Orem or going to Ogden.
They're so in their bubble here.
Yeah.
Exactly. I had people tell me, I said, have you been up to Orem? Oh, I don't get up there. I was down in Provo, and people said, I don't get up to Salt Lake. I said, 35 miles.
Yeah.
It's just up the road.
Yeah.
I don't get up there that often.
Yeah.
And that's our problem. We don't go next door. Do you talk to your neighbors?
We try to.
We try to.
You're different people.
Oh.
We got the automatic garage door open. We drive in, we go upstairs, and that's
it.
We may look at over the 6-foot-tall fence and say hi every now and then. Or they'll call you and say, stop your dogs from barking, But outside of that, we don't meet.
No.
Well, when you hit it, so I want to ask you a question. This runs right into it. So my dad is in he'll be 70 this year.
Okay.
He lives by himself. He's been struggling with this loneliness because he does try to talk to his neighbors. Again, they don't really.
They see him as an old man.
They do.
Yeah.
They see that.
Right.
And so he was struggling. We kind of seen this. I actually hired him. He works a couple days a week for me, just delivering different things when we need him. And that kind of gave him a little bit of that purpose because now he gets to see people
Right.
out, and just seeing the difference, seeing the change in him being able to get out of the house and just intermingle with more people
Right.
has been amazing to watch the change in him just with that. But I want to ask you, being of that same generation, what other things can we do as the younger generation to really help with that? I mean, we're trying to have him reach out, give him something to do, like a purpose, but what else can we do as a younger generation?
Well, first of all, you talk to him. First step, talk to him. And don't talk about just his wellness, how you feel, is your back hurting, is your brain hurting or whatever, because all those things are bothering him.
Yeah.
Say, hey, Pops, remember when we did this? Do you remember when we did that? Wait. There are senior centers. They have activity rooms there. Take him by. Says, come go with me. Don't say it's for him. Say it's for you.
Yeah.
Go there. Talk to the church groups. Talk to the community people and say, hey, would you come talk to my dad? Maybe they won't. Take your dad with you, and say, hey, what you want to do. When he goes to the park, take him to the park. Give him a task to do. Get him active.
Mhm.
Whether he takes tiny steps or big steps, doesn't make a difference. Get him programmed to do things. Give him a job in the backyard. Hey, Dad, we're going to plant some plants and some flowers. Would you help? Get down on the dirt and dig a little hole. Maybe you don't care about the flowers, but let him care about the flowers.
Yeah.
Create activity for them. We start eliminating what they do. Go sit on the porch.
Yeah.
And rock in the chair. Go retire at a retirement home.
Yeah.
Everything we do to older people is taking them out of activity they had all their lives, and now we're telling them, do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that's kept them alive is doing
Yeah.
something.
It's being active.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so why do we want to stop it just because they're 67? I'm 81 years old. If I stop, I'm dead. And when you die, you got two things to worry about. If you're going to heaven or if you're going to hell. If you go to heaven, you got nothing to worry about. If you go to hell, you're going to burn crispy or non-crispy. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of, stole that joke from a guy. But we have to start understanding that all of our lives, we've been programmed to have activity.
Mhm.
You can't just stop that activity. You got to keep it going. So that's a simple thing, and it doesn't take a lot of effort. You got a backyard.
Yeah.
You can go get some plants from the nursery. Say, hey, Dad or Grandpa, come out here and help me plant this.
Yeah.
And let's watch it grow. See, I bet you it's going to grow 6 feet tall. Okay, make it a contest.
Yeah.
Make it a challenge to his thinking that is something that he can watch and nurture and be a part of.
Mhm.
That's all they're asking.
I like that.
I have a question. Other than connection with our seniors being one of the biggest issues, are there any other issues that you've seen that our seniors are struggling with today?
Yeah, health is a big thing.
Yeah.
Mental health, as you talked about earlier, the struggle with medical aspects. It's like when you go to the doctor, the doctor says, well, you got a bad leg, you got a bad knee or whatever, and take this pill and I'll see you in 6 months. And I always ask the question, will the pill cure me? And they go, well, come back in 6 months and we'll
We'll find out.
They don't, you know, create some activity that's about expanding the life. And mental health is a big issue. Solitary confinement kills you. And I think I might have missed the point of your question.
No, you actually nailed it on the head. I one thing that is hard for seniors is talking about mental health, and I think it's the stigma and the way I mean, even us being Gen Xers, we didn't talk about our mental health when we were younger.
No,
That was not something that you talked about, and
because you were crazy if
going
you
to
did.
therapy
Right.
meant that you were crazy.
Yeah,
And one thing that I've even struggled with my folks
right,
is trying to destigmatize therapy for them
right,
and letting them know that just because you need if you go to talk to a therapist doesn't mean that you're crazy, or
right,
it doesn't mean that you're unloading your
right,
problems onto somebody. It's you're just there to talk.
right.
Do you have any advice for our seniors?
Yeah, you got to think about the mind, the body as a machine, and if you use the machine constantly, it wears down.
Mhm,
So you have to find a different approach in talking to seniors about therapy. So, mom, dad, I'm having a difficult time to identify some of these things that you go through, and because my mind is somewhere else. And so let's go talk to a therapist who can isolate the issues for us and help us identify some of the pivotal points that we need to. And this is going to be fun because let's make it a game.
yeah.
Let's see what the therapist knows.
Mm,
Hmm.
you know, Turn it into not a challenge
mhm,
to their intelligence or their spirit, but a life balancing thing. It's fun. Does the therapist think they know more than me? They don't know more than us, Pop. You know what I mean? I'm going
Right.
in there. Let's talk. Turn it into something, an exercise,
mhm,
because that's what therapy is.
yeah.
It's an exercise in mental dexterity.
Mhm,
It says, okay, why are you thinking this way? Don't think this way. Do this, do that. You know, you did that. That's not a good thing. So you use that as a platform to help change. We have put things in such categories that it's scary.
yeah.
It's absolutely scary. So make it a game.
Mhm.
It's a game that you start playing. We're getting out today. We're going to go see this therapist and let's see how much they know,
Yeah.
and they'll play that game because you take it off of them.
Okay. Mm,
Nobody wants to be the defective issue in anything.
mhm,
Can you play dominoes? Can you play cards? Can you play basketball? Well, are you the best basketball? Just play basketball. The game is called play basketball. It doesn't say how good you play it. That only happens when you gather around people and this guy's better or that girl is better, you know. But they say play the game.
mhm,
Yeah.
Playing the game doesn't say who wins. We've tagged on the winner, the loser. You know, go play the game. And the game of life is being fit mentally, physically, and psychologically.
mhm.
And that's what we have to start. We have to start helping people navigate through life.
Mhm. We do.
And we don't pay attention to the fact that at a certain age, things start to deteriorating. If not, we'd all live forever.
Yeah.
And boy, would that be crowded.
It'd be crowded. And I really, the more I think about it, I wouldn't want to live forever.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple 100 years to see things change, but that's probably it, because you can only handle so much of life.
Right,
Like, and that's why we're here for the time that we're here.
right.
That's why our life was designed, our bodies were designed to live a certain lifespan. Everybody's a little bit different, but relatively a certain length of lifespan. That's what our bodies live, because that's all our souls can really handle in this experience.
We're here to
Think,
learn what we're supposed to learn.
absolutely. Think about it. We birth children. They live a certain age, and then they birth children.
Yep.
So it's a revolving process. Everything is a revolving process. People think we come up with a great idea. Well, I can take you back to the 1900s or the 1800s. Somebody had that idea.
Right.
There is no one. Ooh, look at that tree in a pot. They had trees in a pot 90 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, Everything is over and over and over again, different shade, different height, whatever the case might be. So we've got to learn to make this game of life fun
Yeah.
and interesting. And we stop doing it because we're told that's serious. That can't be funny. It's crazy stuff. But,
Mm.
conversation is
That's
the
all it
key
is.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. On your show, what are some of your favorite topics that you get to talk about?
I don't know. I think they're all favorites,
Yeah.
but when I talk about living with pride, it's everything. And I try to capture issues, health, you know, financial ability, working, playing. I don't know if there is. I've had some interesting guests on, and it's what they feed back to me, but all of it is very important. The importance of it all is that I'm getting to talk to people,
Mhm.
and they're seeing that I am one of the people that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the best thing. What I think I like most about my show is that I approach it differently. I don't like to just sit and talk.
Mhm.
I like to attach the visual to it. So if I'm talking about mental health, I'm going to be next to a mental health hospital,
Mm.
or I'm going to talk with a doctor, and a lot of times they go, "Well, James, what questions are you going to ask me?" And I go, I never tell my guests what questions I'm going to ask them. I brought the guests on because they have a certain level of expertise.
Mhm.
So if you don't know about what you do, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
So if I ask you a question about auto mechanics, well, what's a tire? And you're going, what do you mean, what's a tire? And you're an auto mechanic and you don't know what it is, I'm going to tell you, get out of the business.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so I try to talk from my perspective, doctor, you know, why is when I walk into your office, the first thing they ask me for is my medical card? And he says, well, we want to get information. I said, but shouldn't you ask me my name before you ask me for my money?
Mhm.
And he goes, oh, no,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I go into the waiting room and the nurse comes in. Do you know why you're here?
Mm.
I said, that's a question for you.
Yeah.
Why am I here?
Right.
Yeah.
And they look at me and they smile. And I go, okay, quit asking me those questions that you should have the answer for.
Uh-huh.
Tell me why I'm here so it will confirm what it is I'm about to face.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they don't get that. So I think finding out that the system has let us down,
Mhm.
the system is so monetized that it is really not thinking about what's wrong with me, why it happened. If you know that by 40, 50, 60, my body's going to start breaking down. If you know this, and if you know the things that I'm eating, the things that I'm doing is causing this,
Hmm.
why aren't you sharing that information with me so I can tell my children?
Yeah.
Or fix what I'm doing now so I can live a couple extra years.
Exactly. And think about it. I took a can of vegetables and I took fresh vegetables. I set the fresh vegetables in the can. I opened it up. I set them on the counter. 3 days later, the fresh vegetables had
Shriveled up and yeah, they gone bad.
the can of vegetables like, hey, eat me tonight, And I go, what did they put in that can
Right.
to make those vegetables? Because that's the stuff that's killing us.
Mhm.
That's the stuff that's causing cancer. So I think every one of my shows, I'm discovering a different way to talk to people because I have no clue what I'm going to say. I'm going, hey, I'm just sorry.
Yeah.
And that's the way I function because I'm getting spontaneity out of people, but I'm getting their real response.
Yeah.
The real, just like you're doing now. You're making me.
I'm making you think. Yeah.
Yes. And that's what we need to hear.
Mhm.
And I think so to say what's my best show, I'm I'm gonna start having an audience. And I'm gonna do it like the late night shows. I'm gonna walk out on the stage. Welcome to the Living and Aging with Pride today, blah, and try to be funny and interesting and all of that stuff. But I'm trying to create interesting ways for people to watch and listen to the show
Mhm.
that will entertain them, excite them, inform them, and educate them.
Yeah.
because that's what they need.
Yeah.
And people go, "Wow, James, that's interesting. Well, you're talking to a doctor." I talk about prescriptions. I go in the bathroom, open the medicine cabinet up. I said, "Does your medicine cabinet look like this?" Lined up with pill bottles.
Yep.
They said your eyes are going to go bad at a certain age. So why are they still printing on the medicine bottles?
This
Print-
small.
You have to hold it up here and go, "Oh, this is it. This is the aspirin." Why do they do that? If they know what's happening with our eyes.
Yeah.
And the doctor says, "Oh, it's a good question." And the doctor says, "I'm going to prescribe for you Papalapalina Nana." And I go, "What's that?" "Well, that's for your kidney." "So why don't you just say kidney pill?"
The simplify life, right?
Yeah.
Simplify things.
You know,
Yeah.
We got to make it so complicated.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
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 They give us all this information that they don't want us to understand because then we don't need them.
Yeah. Just to find their place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going, this is crazy stuff. Well, that's the right bottle. You know, people or take the wrong prescription, kill themselves, die. It's crazy stuff
Yeah.
that we can simplify.
Yeah.
You know, "James, go get your eyes fixed." Okay. I went and had what you call a, I can't even think of it, but
Laser surgery.
not surgery, but my retinas.
Oh,
Okay.
And they went and fixed it. Man, I could see for days. I was having problems at night. The glare was getting to me. They fixed me, man, I could see. I used to wear readers, and I can see for miles round the corner and all that stuff, you know. But, you know, these things they don't tell you about. You live your life, you face them, and you either, and moderately income people, which are a lot of seniors, don't have the funds to do the things that will save their lives or help their lives.
Yeah.
They're surviving.
Right. They're not living.
And
Yeah.
and a lot of low income and moderate income people have a couple of things on their table.
Yeah.
I got to get food, got to get clothes, got to take care of my children. End of story. So we've got to learn to broaden their horizons by enabling them to do other things and be a part of this thing we call living.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as we kind of wrap up, I love this question. I'm excited to hear because you've got 81 years of experience to answer this question from.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's our
But-
favorite, one of our favorite
Yeah.
questions.
In your lifetime,
Right.
there's been multiple people that have given you advice, but what is a piece of advice that has stood out to you since the day you got it until now? It has just stuck with you.
Well, I'm going to tell you this way. I was talking to my youngest son about doing a podcast, and he said, "You got to quit reading your scripts, Dave." He said, "Because you are authentic." He said, "Just talk to people. Quit reading the script." And that was the greatest advice.
I like that.
He made me confident in who I am, or made me recognize it. And that's it. I have talked to so many people, and as I search back through the vortex of life, I find that everybody has told me to be myself. You're a good guy. Not everybody, but some people,
All the people that matter.
you know, that told me. And when Senator Hatch took me under his arm, his wing, as they say, he says, "You just do you." I asked Senator Hatch to do a commercial with me one time. He said, "I don't do commercials. I'm way more powerful than that." I looked at him, I said, "Well, you're bragging." You know, he laughed. He says, we can do something else. And that taught me that what you might think of people may not be the thing that you should be thinking about. Think about their relevance. Think about their significance. Think about what they can contribute. So I've learned that. So to answer your question, I would say that my son telling me that I was authentic, that he thought that I was a real deal, made it important to me.
I really, really like that.
That's beautiful.
And I'm learning that every step of the way.
Yeah. And passing it on to others.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I could sit here. I bring a bottle of information that I didn't look at.
Yeah.
You know, it's because you have that bit of insecurity about yourself. Well, what are they going to ask me?
Yeah.
Can I answer that question? I better bring some reinforcements with me. And you guys are so good and articulate with how you talk and how you look at me. I'm going, "Ugh." It's nice, compassionate, nice. I mean, it's a nice feeling. And don't ever lose that, because that makes people like me feel in an honest environment. You look me straight in the face, you got a smile on your face, and you ask me questions that I don't see papers in front of you either. And
Yeah.
that makes it real.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped me, and that makes me feel real comfortable with being here and telling you my story. And I am so grateful and appreciative.
We're
I love
honored.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, another fun question that we like to kind of end on this one here.
Okay.
If you could be a superhero,
Right.
who would you pick and why? What would
What would your superpower
what would
be?
that power be?
Ooh. I think if I was going to be a superpower, I would be Superman,
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
because not only could I stop the stupidity, but I could engage the stupidity with the right things to do with my superpowers.
Mm.
I could show them physically and mentally how to do it better. And I think Clark Kent did that.
Yeah.
We didn't recognize the power of Clark Kent. We only recognized the power of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And Clark Kent was far more powerful than Superman because he lived amongst them.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw the rights and the wrongs, and he made sure he did something about it as Superman.
Hmm.
And that's what I would do.
I love it.
Love
it.
And Superman, you never saw him kill anybody.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah.
He just stopped them.
Yep.
Mhm.
And that's what I would do.
I really, really like that.
Yeah.
So
Our last question that we always like.
He said that was the last.
I sorry, you did say that was the last
I know.
question, but I'm just curious. So we always give our guests the opportunity to ask us a question.
Okay.
We give you a chance to be the host.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
So I
for
have two
us?
questions.
Okay.
What makes you feel that life's pickles
Mhm.
is the best way to talk about life?
What makes me feel
that this is the best way to
that
talk
this
about
is
it.
the best way to talk about life?
Right.
I feel that when we share our struggles with others,
Hmm.
I always say vulnerability is contagious. So it allows others to share their vulnerabilities. When we open up our hearts and tell our stories, then it allows others to tell theirs. And through that, we gain connection
Right.
and we learn and we hopefully make life just a little bit better.
Looking at you and seeing your face, you got such an intense seriousness, soft seriousness, and that says you're authentic.
Thank you.
Sir, did you find talking to me gave you the material for your show in an appropriate manner?
I did. And I had to think about it because we ended up going in a little bit different direction than we anticipated, but that's the beauty of a conversation.
Right.
And I feel that we set the tone when we started off this show and went the direction that needed to be said today. You have given us, I've learned so much just on what we can do better for people in, the senior community, but also just in the community in general from you, that I hadn't really thought about. And I know other people are probably going to hear the same things that I did,
Right.
but also probably get some different things from it. So I absolutely feel that you gave everything that we were looking for. We are so honored that you came down to share all of your stories and your inspiration.
Well, God bless you both, and thank you for inviting me down. You've made my day. You've made my life a step better. Thank you very much.
We love that.
Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up, everybody, like we end every episode, we end our episodes with a challenge. You're all taking your time today to listen to this episode. We've shared some great new and similar information than we have before. Somebody in your life needs to hear this. So take this episode and share it with somebody in your personal community. Share it with a family member, share it with a coworker, share it with a friend, or possibly just somebody new that you've met that you know this can have an impact on their life, and good or just in general, they needed to hear the messages today. That's how we continue to grow our show, is with the love and the compassion and the curiousness of everybody tuning in to see what Surviving Life's Pickles is really about and how we can grow together in this community. Until we see you again, make sure that you keep your head up, keep that smile on your face, and don't forget that you're
A big deal.